What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to our latest episode of Partner First. I apologize. I already made a faux pas. I had the video playing with audio in the background, so I was getting echo of myself, which is not as fun as it sounds. But what is fun is today we have an awesome, I don't even want to call it a vendor because it's not really that. It's a cool tool that it's one of those things that when you talk about it or when you learn about it, you say, why didn't I think of that? It is the most simple, obvious thing that brings better, what we talk about, quality of life, right? Quality of life to the client, to their customer experience, and makes your lives easier too. So if you don't know what I'm talking about Tier 2 Tickets, awesome product called Helpdesk buttons, which are these little bits of magic. And it's not just the hardware. There's an awesome software platform that goes along with it. And we're going to learn about that. Before we get started, let's do some housekeeping stuff. Yes, this is recorded. Yes, this is live on Facebook and YouTube. Absolutely. Go ahead and this will be available immediately after we're done. Feel free to comment there on the chat. Elle is in the green room. She's commenting. Alex is watching as well. We will be, and Simon, of course, is in the green room as always. So, we want to get interactivity. If you're using Helpdesk buttons, let us know. If you're considering it, tell us what's holding you back. Tell us or why you're considering it too. I definitely want to know that. But this is a cool little product. And before we get started, I apologize. I have to say this. Make sure you like and subscribe. My marketing team's been getting on my butt about not doing that. So if you love this content, please like it. If you don't like it, double like it. And subscribe so you get more of this awesome content. So without much further ado, please let's welcome up Mr. Alex Permenter of Tier 2 Tickets. Alex, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Ray. Thank you for having me on. Very excited.
Absolutely. Why don't you, and for those of you that don't know, I've seen Alex on MSPRS and around the different community circles for over a year, more than a year, right? It's been quite a while.
It's been a few. I grew up in the Reddit community. I think I was like probably a one-man band when I started, talking to other people and figuring it out. So I have gotten a lot of help from those groups.
Nice. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about your company, what we're going to be looking at.
Okay. All right. Well, my name's Alex. I own an MSP in Middle Georgia. We're probably mid-sized or a few thousand endpoints. And I started it about 8 or 9 years ago. My issues, you can see I'm sort of even stuttering and nervous already. I'm a terrible salesperson. I'm a terrible marketer. I'm bad at branding. My MSP's name is Alex's PC Solutions, which might be like the dumbest MSP name in North America. It's really quite bad.
Or the most clear, right? I mean, we talk about that elevator pitch, that 30-second pitch of like, you get in and you have 30 seconds with a client. How do you explain who you are and what you do? And well, Alex's PC Solutions, problem solved.
I guess. So my MSP, we kind of grew up on our own. I still don't have any salespeople or marketing, and my branding's still bad. We managed to grow to a good size, and we're very profitable. And it's mostly because we've focused on service delivery and efficiency, and that's sort of where our tool came in, and where that came from. Because I can't do the thing that some of the I'm not one of the Ernest Murrays who can go out and sell $500 a seat or $300 a seat. I'm really very bad at sales. So just focusing really hard on trying to make money. Trying to expand through good service delivery and make money through high efficiency, and that's always been like our target. And I think that a lot of MSPs are very sales focused, which is great, and I respect that a lot. I'm just not. I just can't do it. So you can make a lot of money by just nailing the other things, and that's sort of where we're coming from.
And then I love it because it hits the nail on the head. As MSPs, Lord knows I've been guilty of this in the past. We focus on like so many tools when it comes to remote connections and what AV are you using and what billing platform, what PSA, what's here. and it has an absolute absence of thought from what's the customer experience, what's the end goal of getting this done. And it's funny because every time I look at these little buttons, I think of the Staples easy button, right?
Yeah.
um and it's just like when somebody needs help, that's they can get help as quickly as they need it. And it's not, and you have that challenge, right? You want to have customers get access to help as quickly as they need. And so we look at stuff like Slack and Teams and email and text messages. And some of the drawbacks all those things have is you're not getting any data back. Okay, well, I'm getting this text from this random number. One, how do I track it in my PSA? Two, how do I even know who this is? Right? Like, and three, what device are they connecting? Like, where is this coming from? And you found this perfect marriage of excellent customer experience, that they can get data to you quickly. They can get an immediate submission of their problems, even by slamming their hand on the desk if they want to, and you can still get the diagnostic data back on the MSP side, which is why I say it's such an elegant solution. So I'm kind of thankful, you self-prescribed not great at sales, but you came up with an awesome product that I think we're all the better for. So with that, you want to give real quick, like, where the idea came out of? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
like I said, this
So
is one of those things where it's like, it's obvious the minute you say it. The minute you say it out loud,
sure.
everybody's like, why didn't I think of that? But yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Well, so we were, like I said, we're focused on efficiency and service delivery, and we do that really well. We don't do sales super well, but service delivery we knock out of the park. And so we're sitting down, we're looking really really hard at where our complaints are coming from clients. And one of the key things there is that we identified is there was never a ticket created. Somebody grabbed someone in the hallway, somebody texted somebody, but it never made it into our system, so it didn't get handled correctly. And the other thing is just what techs are actually doing all day. We sat and watched our techs try to figure out what they're doing with their time. They spend not a lot of their time actually fixing problems. They're spending time chasing people down, trying to get more information, trying to get better information, people on the phone. They don't really know what the customer's problem is that they put in. They can't reproduce it. You know, these these issues are they take up a ton of time, and that's how people actually spend their time. Not and there's not a lot of tools that kind of solve that. So as far as how to put tickets in, I actually asked on Reddit, like, how are you guys getting your users to do this? And and how are you handling it when you can't get good communication from them? And the conventional wisdom that I got back is, well, you have to make them do it. You have to make them do it, and if they don't do it, then you don't help them. You have to train them to do this. And that's fine, and we tried it, but it's a little bit more aggressive. That, like, I'm a shy guy. I'm not confrontational. I don't want to get into it with my users about, well, you didn't follow the procedure, so I didn't help you. And, like,
It's
I'm
uncomfortable,
right.
right?
Yeah,
You don't want to
I,
hurt the customer relationship,
yeah,
but
I could be
yeah,
right, but not
you're not
but
going
it
to
doesn't
win.
matter. It doesn't matter if I'm right, if they're pissed off, like users, they're not always reasonable.
Yeah, that's something I was told a long time ago before I got married. When talking with my wife, I can be right or I can be happy. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
pick one.
So we try to really dig down, like, well, why aren't people submitting tickets? What's the painful part of this? People don't like submitting tickets because it's complicated. They don't know how. They don't have their password to do it. They don't have the login to do it. They have to answer a bunch of forms and go through a bunch of questions, and they don't know where their problem is. In the system, they don't know, do you have an issue, or a service request, and they don't really can't differentiate. So people build these systems, and they're great, but they only work if your users will use them. They build these
Yeah,
navigations, going through forms and things, and you're really just sort of offloading a lot of work onto your end users. And uh, it's not always great for the relationship, and they don't always want to do it, and so they sometimes they won't do a thing, and then they'll complain, after 6 months that something's been broken for a long time and they never told you about it. So we're trying to remove those barriers. We're trying to make it really easy for people to get us the information that we need. We're trying to keep them from having to have like a technical vocabulary in order to get us the information that we need, because they just say, oh, my computer's broken, and you have to figure out what that is.
It's broke, go ahead and fix it.
Right,
So
right. And then you spend an hour trying to figure out what do they want, what's broken, it looks okay to me, that sort of thing. And so that's where it came from.
cool. I love that. And we'll get into it. The software, for what it does, is phenomenally, I want to say this in a nice way. It's dense in the amount of features it has. It's actually pretty impressive when it comes to it, but the implementation is very simple. And it's nice to have that nice mix. I do have one request. Can we make these into a help desk button? Can we just like, if you've ever seen these just like you slam on them and it is a valid enter key. It's the most awesome thing I've ever wasted money on.
Maybe, yeah. If they're programmable, we could do it for sure.
Love it.
We
All
could
right. So
we could do it. If you give this to Chris will do it for you. We'll make you one. It took me a second to work my way through it, but yes, we can do that.
I love that. All right. So without further ado, let's there is a presentation, but like all times, guys, those of you in the chat, ask your questions. We're going to be walking through this. This is a collaboration. It's not just a presentation. So ask your questions. We'll answer them live. We'll do a Q&A at the end as well. And yeah, let's see what happens. So what do you got for us, Alex?
Okay. All right. So I have this this thing that Elizabeth did for me, a little presentation. But I mentioned some of this stuff already, where it came from and where we're going with it. And a lot of time that people are spending, just trying to communicate and gather data and getting the clients back on the phone. And so this is really very much a workflow platform. And so and we think that there's a lot of that missing in the channel. There's a lot of things that are about metrics that are really easy to find and really easy to get and really easy to improve. And they're not really looking at these pieces of data that are really hard to find, which is like, how much time are you spending, just trying, calling people over and over again, or sending emails, or that sort of thing. It's a hard to track metric.
Which
But
is mind-boggling, right? Because
yeah,
for the amount of tools we have your remote access tool, you have your RMM, you have your PSA, you might have 10, 20 other items that you add to your stack. For the metrics you can get from your network stack, the metrics you can get from anything else, and you have this amazing like cavalcade of data, but very people are using them effectively or building it into the workflow. It's get the complaint first, then go research for the data, then interpret the data, then see how I can use it to affect a solution. But it's very disjointed. It's not built as part of a workflow.
yeah. So that's a lot of what we're going for. We think that there's just a real lack of focus on the other half of ticket resolution, which is just the data gathering process and the workflow process. So we've worked really hard on just making clean, easy, fast workflows. A lot of the data that we gather, people can gather with their RMM, or they can gather with a script, but it takes a lot of time. You have to go dig through each part of it and look at each thing, and we just grab that snapshot instantly of what's going on, which I'll show in the demo in just a second. But yeah, people are spending just a ton of time, chasing clients that they can't get back on the phone, especially like VIPs. They don't want to talk to you, they don't want to communicate, they just want to say it's broken. We have people who say, literally, they'll put in a ticket and they'll say, you should know what company I'm with, you should know who I am. Like, I had a doctor say that, real nice guy. So you spend all this time just frantically running around trying to help people who aren't helping. They're not willing to be participants. So that was one of the things that we identified as just a big time sink on our help desk, was just the initial Can we reproduce the issue? Do we know what we're actually trying to solve, or are we guessing at what we're trying to solve? Um,
That's one of the things, I kind of, impress on my support teams. Our first step of troubleshooting is replicate the issue, but there are times where from initial ticket submission to even knowing what issue you're trying to reproduce, like there's a gap in there because, like you said, trying to get a hold of the person that submitted the ticket, then walked away and gave very minimal data, and you're trying to get a hold of them again so you can find out exactly what's going on, but they went out to lunch or they did whatever. And it sucks to say because it all does come back on the MSP eventually, where the MSP says, you're looking at this average ticket to resolution, right? From submission to resolution. And even if in your PSA, you're tracking, you're saying, okay, well, there's waiting client response, whatever, where you're not counting it against yourself and your SLAs, I promise you the client's still counting that against
yeah,
you.
absolutely. It's not to be right. You have to meet them where they are. And that's a struggle. You have to really go to them to get it right. But we have issues. One of the things that we really tackle, I've got up on the screen here, is intermittent issues, which are kind of the bane of the help desk existence. Somebody's putting in a complaint and you don't know what it is, and you can't reproduce it, and it's only happening every once in a while. And this is one of the places where our product really, really shines, is with intermittent issues that are hard to track down. And those are the ones that become big problems because you can't get them solved for weeks or months. And the client's complaining about it, and you have no idea what's going on. You're just guessing at it. You're just trying things. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And so that was a thing that we identified as like a big problem. So being able to get the snapshot of the computer the second the problem happens is super important.
And I
And
think
helps a lot.
that's, I don't want to minimalize that, because that is to me for on the client side, on the UX side, it's the ease of access for the client to request support. On the application or the technician side, it's having diagnostic data from that very first request.
Yeah.
That's such a big deal.
You go back, you
And
look at it
actually,
later, it's gone.
yeah, right. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, there was an issue on my screen. It's one of the reasons we had started using remote monitoring tools, or, and we were recording our Screen Connect sessions, because there would be stuff that popped up that, like, the data was gone before they could even describe it. You know what I mean? So we started using, low, what do we call it? Low retention screen recording. So stuff
Hmm.
that would disappear in 3 days, stuff like that.
Hmm.
It was purely for diagnostics. I see Elle answering in the chat, but I want to put it up on screens for the benefit of everybody else. Sean's asking, once the help desk button software is installed in a remote client, can I, the tech, push a remote launch of the endpoint help desk button dialog via the ticket dashboard? That
So
was something cool. Go
currently,
ahead.
currently, the answer is no, but it's actually on dev right now. We initially didn't do that because of privacy concerns, and we've since decided we're just going to let the MSPs decide if they want to do that themselves or not. We're just going to make them, uh, show us that they have a privacy policy in place with their client, and then we're going to enable. We're very sensitive to our tool being abused, so we're going to make sure that people are operating and using it in a responsible manner. But we're going to have that. It's up and live on dev already.
You do have right now and I was playing with it this morning in my Windows 365 instance, the ability to send a toaster notification.
Yeah. So we have hooked into the PSAs, and you can set up toaster notifications with the PSA that At my MSP, we're really, really, really about communication. So anything that happens on a ticket automatically gets a toaster notification to the end user, so they see, okay, your ticket has been assigned, your ticket has been transferred to this other technician. We're waiting on this. Anytime the status has changed on a ticket at all, they get that notification, and we found that that's really, really good for just getting a hold of people and keeping them in the loop. One of the problems that we have is people are working on stuff and they don't tell the client that they're working on things. So the client has no idea that we've got, two technicians, frantically trying to fix their issue. They think they're being ignored. I beg my techs to like let people know, like, hey, you're working on this. Hey, you've started on this. But it's hard to get it done, and so having an automated system in place that lets them know the progress on their thing, just sort of lets them know, hey, somebody is working on this. It's being taken care of. You're not being ignored, and I think that's really important for relationships.
Yeah, looking at the chat now, I think I misunderstood it as a communications thing. I think Al got understood the question immediately. Sean, I'll put up on the screen. Sean says, excuse me, his need comes from the fact that many residential clients will call a text. He needs a ticket. Good on you. The ability to remote launch the help desk button software as a reminder. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the ability to launch the diagnostics, but also the ability to prompt that communication or do stuff. I agree. I'll put it in chat. It's game changer. I agree. It
Well,
is.
the whole part of that update is actually that we're going to allow the MSP not only to launch it on demand, but also if they have configurations set up in their PSA, the software can automatically run and grab that anytime a ticket is submitted, no matter where it's submitted from. So if somebody calls in and you put a ticket in under their name, it will go grab their configuration and run a report on their machine. If they send something in through email, it'll automatically attach the report to it. So you're going to get that real-time diagnostic information regardless of how the ticket is put in, even if it's not by hitting the button, even if it's through like a text message or phone call or email.
That's pretty awesome. I love that.
Yeah, we're excited about that feature. Okay, all right. So let me just go through. I think I've said some of this stuff already. I'm not very good at staying on task with slideshows, but
You're good, man. Don't worry about
we talked about. I told you I'm bad at sales, but we talked about just chasing down some of the data and things like that. And I can actually throw up a demo right now and just sort of show you guys what
it.
it
Yeah,
looks like for the end user and what it's going to look like for the technician. So
we love demos.
for starters, I'm going to hold up one of our little buttons. This is my for my MSP, but these are 100% brandable. This one is a USB hub, so you can get some extra ports out of it. And get it with your logo. Everything I'm going to show you today is 100% brandable. So all of the text and logos and colors and
And
everything
easily
will be
brandable
changed.
too. You have, one of the things, I was talking about the other day. I love branding, but I'm all about documentation. I
Mm-hmm.
love documentation for absolutely everything. And one of the things that struck me is the minute I logged into the portal, every command almost has like documentation links right next to it. It's like you don't have to go search for it. You don't have to know the right terms. It's right there, and really well documented. Not just like there's some buttons, click it, but it's actually really thorough, which I appreciate. As a user.
So I've just hit the button and it pops up a little splash screen with information that again is editable. It asks the user what's just some basic information. It'll pull this information from their Active Directory if it's set up and fill it out for them. They put in the issue that they have, and right now this is gathering diagnostics on this computer. I'm doing it live, and they can put in whatever they want, and that's pretty much it. And we have a consent here that they're not submitting confidential information. But again, all of this is editable, and you can change this to your workflows however you want. But that's pretty much the entire process for end users. Is they just, they hit the button, they say, "This is what I'm having trouble with," and it shoots through. We actually have some AI logic built into that will automatically triage tickets or assign actions to them based on what the end user typed in. So it can, assign printer tickets to your printer tech, or VIP tickets to specific people, or set priority on things, or even like trigger stuff from your PSA. So if they say, "I need Office installed," and you have our AI looking for a match for Microsoft Office, it can prompt the end user with something that says, "Hey, would you like to install Office?" And it'll go out and talk to your RMM and run that Office installation script if you have it set up. And I'll show you how to do all that in just a second. So we just put it in. These are some of the AI things. I didn't really put much in, but it's asking me a couple of options here. Telling me, "Hey, maybe you can reboot your computer if you're having problems," or "Would you like to refer us?" But I put it in, and I have the ticket, and I have the ticket number, and that's it for the end user. It's really fast. It's really easy. They don't have to know their password. They don't have to have their login. The techs know that it came from them. The user's already been authenticated through your domain or your Active Directory, so you know that it came from the person who said it came from. And I'm going to show you this. If there's this is I'm going to close this, and I'm going to show you actually in Discord here. Here's my ticket that I just created that dropped into our help desk chat, and the tech can go right to that and see what's going on there. But I'm going to show you. Exit out of this and show you what this is going to look like in your PSA. So it's going to come into your PSA, your ticketing system. This is our test one, but you'll get a public note with everything that they typed in, and then you'll get a private link that's a cryptographically secure link that will take you to our diagnostic report. And the diagnostic report looks like this. This is one that I did earlier on this computer, and it immediately flags anything that's potentially a problem on the machine. We have, I don't know, like probably close to 100 different diagnostics that we grab in real time, and we flag anything that's out of spec immediately, so the tech sort of has a place to jump to and see what's going on. But we do all sorts of network diagnostics. We flag, all sorts of things. If they're on a guest network, it's automatically flagged. We look at the
So you're not just
processes
providing the data; you're giving a cursory flags and insights into some of the data you're getting.
Yeah,
I don't want to
that's
say.
right. We built this off of our process. Just anything that we thought might be potentially out of spec. We sort of said, this is something that might be a problem. This is something that's more of a problem, and anything that we can grab in real time, we do, and we're adding stuff to this all the time. We can see, the network was, they're getting bad packet loss on their WAN connection. When they put the ticket in, that might have been what the issue is. And those are things that are almost impossible to track down after the fact. And that'll apply to things that are outside of the computer. If they're having a VoIP issue, and you're providing VoIP to them, and they put this ticket in, and you see that their packet loss is real bad, you already know what's going on, and you know that's where the problem is, and you don't have to dig any deeper.
And that's the crazy thing, because like we were talking about before, you have, your RMM, you have access to all this data. It's not that hard to, run an NS lookup or, look at Procmon or what, but it's a series of individual tasks you're going to have to do manually or, scripted or whatever. This is just built into that workflow. It's that ticket submission to discovery, to identifying the problem, to providing a solution. You've just streamlined that significantly.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, and that's what we're focused on, is just saving time on the help desk. So like even this is pulling like the real-time processes that are running, on this machine at any given thing. And if I don't know what something is, I can click on it and it'll do a curated Google search and tell me, what's going on with it. And the same thing for like my event viewer. I can say, okay, what is this particular error? And that's been flagged in the event viewer, and I can go and do a search. It'll take me
Oh
right
wow.
to it. So it's really about just having a very, very streamlined, very fast help desk and good resolution, and just looking for anything that's like a potential error. For instance, we pull up blue screens, for like the last 7 days on the machine, which are sometimes really hard to track down. And application errors. If something's been crashing over and over again, we'll have that on our report. We'll flag just that this machine just got an update, yesterday, and maybe that's related to your potential, thing if it was working the day before. So just anything that we identify as things that are very frequent issues that come up. We run everything in their DNS cache versus Cisco Umbrella. We even like look and see if their email address has been in a dark web breach, and flag, all of that. So I guess mine has last year sometime. Um, so uh, so that's what it's about. It's about just saving your techs a ton of time. But the killer feature in here that we're really really proud of is our instant replay. So that's this little menu right up here. And what this is, if you go and you click on this, it's going to open up. I'm going to close this out. It's going to open up an instant replay of the last 20 actions that the end user took before they hit the button. So you get to get really the replay is unbelievably useful for diagnosing things and figuring out what's going on, because you get to see what the end user was doing before they had the issue, before they hit the button. It goes back in time. And you can, if you don't know their software, you can still get in and reproduce the issues in their software even if you've never seen it before. You can follow what they're doing to get the error message to reproduce it. And then you also have this slideshow that you can download and send to a vendor immediately to show them, hey, this is what's going on. And we found that to be super super useful, being able to send something to a third party vendor that immediately has the steps to reproduce the issue. So I'm clicking through this right now on my screen, and it might be kind of small. I'm going to try to zoom in here. But we grab where the mouse clicked and it's highlighted and what people were doing on their screen, and even like where they clicked, and we've had a lot of success with this. I had a thing, the other day where somebody was saying that their software was closing when it wasn't, and we went and looked at it, and they were definitely closing the software themselves. We saw them hitting the X. We had a screenshot of it, and that would have been a huge fight otherwise. But I can go in here and just sort of look at what they were doing before they hit the button. I did this before the thing, and is Googling, how do I get Ray to like me, and how to hide being bald on webcam, and a couple
But
things like
that's a
this.
whole new level of like
Yeah,
how I don't download anything. I swear I didn't touch it. It keeps
yeah,
crashing on me. I
yeah.
love that.
People lie. I mean, I don't mean to be bad about it, but I've been doing this for a long time, and people will lie about what they're doing, and they'll say that they didn't do a thing, or they'll tell you something that's totally different than what's actually going on. And so I've learned to not really trust users to try and verify and
Yeah.
reproduce everything, because you'll
Well,
waste so much time.
and even taking it back from like, yeah, sometimes users are dishonest and absolutely, but also there are plenty of times where users don't know how to adequately describe what's going on just because they don't understand it.
Yeah,
So that's why I love having these grabs, because like they tell you, you can see it for yourself, and the technician can qualify what's happening, and they're going to have a greater understanding, and hopefully, yeah. And Sean said it best: trust but verify.
right.
And you're going to be able to identify and hopefully get to a good solution.
Yeah, so that's kind of the meat of our product. We've built out a bunch of cool other things. Everything I showed you is totally customizable with all of your logos and branding. The buttons are customizable. You can launch the software from a taskbar, or you can launch it from a hotkey, or you can get the buttons. The buttons themselves are unbelievably good for sales. I told you I'm bad at sales, and I am, and I didn't build this for sales, but oh my god, is it good for sales. End users have no idea what MSPs do. They don't know what your automation is. They don't know how your security stack is different from anybody else's. But if you bring this out at a sales meeting and you show them, you've got a button that you can hit when you have a problem, it connects, and it'll connect in a way that you haven't seen in your pitches before. It really lands. Like, people really like it. They're super impressed by it, and it's a huge differentiator. And it's closed a lot of sales for me, and a lot of partners have reported that it's tremendously good for sales. And we didn't build it for that, but it just happens to be. So,
But like, but that's something I want to point out, because I know Sean, Sean's in charge of the partner programs. That's something he likes to point out. I like to point out as well. You don't have to be good at sales. I think the people that sit there and focus on their stack and their differentiation, and I use this product because that product's bad and blah blah. That's irrelevant. When you focus on the customer experience, you focus on the customer outcomes, their ease of access. And that will get you over the hurdle 1,000 times more than being able to say why your PSA is better than the other guys.
Yeah, I don't talk about that at all when I'm pitching my MSP. I love it when they've already talked to another MSP. I say, whatever they've told you about security and automation, like, we do all that, and I'll talk to you about it if you want, but let me tell you what we do that's different, and and why you would want to work with us over the other guys. So this is a way that you can really show people that you're very committed to customer service, and that you really want them to have a good, easy experience. And one of the things that's like a real common thing that we get is people say, "Well, won't I get more tickets?" And I've even had like clients say, "We don't want you to be overwhelmed. We're not sure about this." And I was concerned with it when we first built it. I was like, I don't know if we're going to get more tickets or not. And we found that we really don't. We get basically the exact same amount, but we get a lot less reoccurring tickets and repeat tickets. It's people use it when they need to use it, but it just lets us nail things quickly. So
that's the funny thing, right? Like, every time we talk ACE, every time we talk like, adding this method of communication or adding that method of communication, the concern is always they're going to submit more tickets. I'm more concerned with the tickets the client didn't submit because they didn't want to bother you, but it's bothering them.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean? That's 1,000 times worse.
Yeah, it's it's the worst thing when somebody comes to me and they say, "I've been having this problem for 6 months," and we say, "Who did you tell about it?" And they say, "I haven't talked to anybody about it." It kills you, when that happens. So you want to know, you want to be able to fix those problems. You want people to not be struggling, and that's how you have a good relationship with people. Which is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and I like this because, and I apologize, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But I'm not good at this.
No, you are, and I think you remind me of a friend of ours, a friend of the OIT family, Keith Nelson, who also says he's horrible at sales, but he says a lot of the things you're saying, and he's successful at it because he understands you don't have to be have a silver tongue, you don't have to have the most amazing marketing collateral, and it's just being able to communicate with the client and get the information out there. I wanted to point this out because you haven't, so I'm going to hijack your screen real quick.
Okay.
So this is mine, not yours. But but one of the things I love, like I talked about the documentation, right? Like, everywhere you have the branding and the user interface, and it's very, very, very clear what's going on here. But and I love you have the documentation there, like every step of the way it's there, and the customizability, I guess, I don't even know if that's a word, I'm making stuff up live. So but because one of the first things MSPs always ask is, can I brand it? Can I put my logo? And I trust me, I'm a brand person. I absolutely get that. Um, but the level to which you've made this customizable is absolutely phenomenal. Um, this is great. And there was where I was getting to. There's a book I love, which is They Ask You Answer, which is basically giving the answers before, identifying the questions people keep coming up with, and just proactively providing those answers before the next person asks. Right. One of my favorite sayings, is Oppenheimer: "Genius sees the answer before the question." It's not a matter of clairvoyance; it's a matter of understanding who you're speaking with and knowing your whatever it is well enough that the questions that are going to come up and you're prepared for them. Um, Somebody had asked about branding, about being able to put in any key.
Mhm.
That's there, but for those that don't want to use the buttons, I don't know why you wouldn't. The buttons are phenomenal, but you have these. You can use keyboard shortcuts. Elle was describing in the chat about changing the keyboard shortcuts, but you have these little decals before they even ask. Okay, I don't want to pay the minimum for the buttons or whatever.
Mhm.
Marketing collateral, just setting up your PSA RMM. You've answered all of these awesome questions before anybody says a word. And I think that is, I know some major players, and I'm not minimalizing. When I say major, I mean 1,000-person companies that don't have documentation as well laid out as this. So I think that's pretty damn awesome.
Thank you. That's very nice of you. It's mostly because we didn't know. I mean, we were just trying to do the things that we wanted, that we would want as a client, and we didn't have we don't, didn't know the best way to spend our time. So, we're just trying to do the things that we thought that we would like to see. Um, but we've done the platform. What I've showed is very straightforward, but it's actually a very, very deep platform, and it can be built out with like a ton of customizations. We have an AI that we're super proud of, and we even have like a drag and drop builder for triaging tickets, and for linking to forms. If somebody's asking about a purchase, you can have it automatically, take them to a Google form or a Cognito form that they fill out, or just anything you can think of for forms. Or I showed like some chat integrations, but we've tried to make it very, very open ended for the MSPs that are willing to spend the time building it out. You can really attach just about anything with an API to our platform, and have that end user submission trigger any sort of action that you would like to do. Even the button press itself, when they hit the button, you can add extra scripts to that. And if they hold the button down, you can have it not only install our software, but install your RMM tool or anything else that you want to do, if you want to drop a script in there to do that. So it's kind of a simple concept, but I think we've built a very deep platform that has a lot of power to it, that we're really proud of, and we've had some people build some really, really neat things around this.
Which is, and I gotta give you a little bit of a hard time here because, like I said, one of the things we were talking about in the green room before this, and I think I mentioned it when we started the episode. You've been around the community a long time. I've known about Helpdesk buttons for quite a while now. Um, I've seen it, heard others talk about it. I've seen you talk about functionality. At no point in the last year and change, much or probably longer, um, did it ever occur to me you had this level of AI and customization and this is visual code builder? I don't think I've ever seen that mentioned, and I don't think I saw it on any of the marketing material either. That's a
Uh,
big deal, dude. That's
we like it. It's cool. We're proud of it. You can do, if you're comfortable, you can put raw code in, but we found a lot of people struggle with that. So so we have this visual editor where you just drag, you can grab the blocks and put them in, and drop them in, and there's a bunch of examples that are built out for some of the most common things, and you can just attach this to the system however you want, and you can use this to triage tickets, or you can use it to prompt the user to take additional actions if you want to give them self-service options that like if they need training, then it can go out and connect to bigger brains, or like I said, if they want to install software to connect to your PSA, or if you wanted to run additional scripts on the system, if they say they have a printer issue and you'd like it to run something that clears the print spooler and restarts it and removes print jobs, you can.
But I even love the presentation that in the script builder you have them represented as puzzle pieces. Like how everything ties together. And that's such a nuanced thing, right? That's such a okay, yeah, it goes from this to left to right and blah blah, and these pieces fit together. But just having it visually represented as puzzle pieces just gives that extra mental click of how these things work.
It also makes it impossible to put in like code that won't compile, is like the main thing. So so we built this, and then I gave it to my techs that aren't coders. I'm fortunate that I have a lot of devs on staff, but we gave it to the ones that weren't, and made sure that they were able to do stuff in it. And when they weren't, I said, no, we have to have better examples and things. So we've tried to make it easy for people, but you don't have to do any of this. Our product works great out of the box. This is all icing. This is like a fun thing that we thought would be fun and interesting for people if they wanted to build out a lot of customization. But you don't have to do anything here. You can just use the templates and examples that are there already.
I love that. So any other functionality that we haven't covered that you wanted to go over?
I don't know. We are actually very close to our remote access tool getting built back out. We published sort of a demo a long time ago, and we've been spending a lot of time working on that. And I think that we're going to have a good remote access tool tied into this platform that is on demand and also launchable from the platform. That'll be have feature parity with any of the major remote tools, and the additional ability to grab the report when you connect in. So if you have somebody that's not on your RMM already, and you just need to give them a code to go in and run the remote access tool, you can do that and grab that diagnostic off the computer the second you connect, which we think will be kind of like a fun differentiator. So that's coming very soon. I would tell you the website, but I would get in trouble for doing that, because I think it actually is live right now, but it's a test site. And then we also are tying to that a chat tool that will automatically take the contents of the chat and attach it to the ticket. So anything that you're talking to the end user about with the remote access will automatically get dropped into the ticket, which we think will be really, really good for documentation.
I love that. And I have one of our friends, Luke Whitelock, who's also been on a technical deficit here a couple times. I asked, have you guys sorted out GDPR compliance yet?
Yeah. So Elizabeth is saying that we did, and it was a pain. GDPR compliant. You have to have somebody from Europe that does stuff for you to be GDPR compliant. You have to have somebody that lives there. It's very involved, but yeah, we got that knocked out. And I see he's asking about Halo also, and Halo PSA is it's under dev right now. It's the current integration that we are working on. A lot of people have asked about Halo. I like Halo, and that is the next integration that's coming. It's I don't know if I have our roadmap pulled up, but it's somewhere, and it's is Daryl working on that right now? Elizabeth's nodding her head yes. So it's being actively worked on right now.
I love that. So what's you've already talked about the chat. You've talked about the you've talked about a few features coming out. What else? What else are you guys coming out with? is there anything else that's next on the list?
We're working on a really big thing, but I'm not going to talk about it. We're working on so we're so excited. We've been excited about this for like 2 years. All of this is actually kind of a tech demo for a bigger platform that we are working on. So we've used help desk buttons to try a bunch of different things that we have as ideas for something else that we're working on, but I'm not going to talk about it. I get in trouble.
You heard it here. He's
But
going to displace Kaseya as an
you know
RMM
what?
tool. No, I'm kidding. I'm
I'll
kidding.
send it. I'll send it to you. I
Okay.
don't know that we're going to displace anybody. I don't want to say that. That would be
No,
that's too
I'm just giving
ambitious
a hard
for
time.
me. And I don't want to say that we're an RMM or that we're replacing RMM because everybody will beat us up on that. But here's our roadmap, and you can see Halo PSA right there is on deck.
I love
So
that.
that's what we're currently digging into. And we've
You
got
have
about
a
a year's
long,
worth of features
long
out here.
list. Yeah.
It's we keep having ideas, and we just aren't enough people to do all of the ideas. And and we keep everybody. Most of these things, at least 2/3 of these things, came from partners that said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could do this?" And we're like, "Yes, that would be cool." So so much of this has been from the community, and we really listen hard to that, and we really try to get as much input from people as we possibly can. It's really hard because every MSP is different, and we will get like directly conflicting requests, like all the time.
Yeah,
Like
I can imagine.
so it's tough to balance that, and that's been a real challenge. But so much of our requests have come from the community, and it's been just a lot of good ideas.
Multi PSA sync. Are there a lot of people running multiple PSAs?
Well, that's actually we built that for outsourced service desks. So we deal with a lot of enterprise clients, and we deal with a lot of places that
Makes sense.
outsource. You know, that just if you're a help desk for MSPs and you want to be able to talk to everybody's PSA, but you don't want to have to log directly into their PSA, and you want to be able to manage everything from your PSA for all of your end users, that's what we built. And it was actually very complicated, surprisingly complicated. But right now, we do have a tool for vendors that will let them take their ServiceNow desk and sync their tickets with ConnectWise and Autotask and Synchro, so that they have that good communication without having to be in a bunch of different systems.
Nice. Very nice.
It's a real
Any
niche
Salesforce
thing.
integration? I ask for myself, of course.
It's on here. It's on here. It's next year. We've got it scheduled for
Nice.
next year in Q1. We're starting to tackle some of the bigger systems. You see that we got Microsoft Dynamics on our board.
Yeah.
Because we've found, I mean, we love MSPs, and MSPs are our bread and butter. And we built this for MSPs, and I run an MSP, but we're getting a lot of enterprise interest, and so we're sort of moving to make sure that we're supporting some of that.
Oh no, we were talking in the green room before the episode started of, part of the challenge I have is I'm no longer an MSP, but I get to talk to all these awesome vendors that have all these amazing tools, and of course I have that FOMO and I want to play, and then you guys were so gracious. You sent me, Elle sent me this gift package, with these help desk buttons and all these wonderful items. And I started playing with the software, and I talked to our CSE team is our internal engineering team, for supporting the company. And I was like, I want to deploy this out because this just makes sense for us internally. So I can absolutely see where an enterprise would want to do this. It makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, so we're with PAX 8, for example, and they're deploying it internally now, for their, just for their company, with their help desk, and so we've had a lot of these things pop up like that, but we're getting a lot of interest from the enterprise space, but
Yeah.
MSPs are our bread and butter, and that's where we're focusing, and that's where most of the things come from. And I really like that community. It's given me a lot. So I try to, I post the stupid things that I post, and I just try to say sometimes, this is the dumb thing that I did. Don't do it, or this is a thing that happened, and it seemed to work. Has this worked for anybody else? Because we're all just trying to figure it out and feel our way through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. If I had the MSP community when I was first starting, I wish it was around. I mean, it wasn't. And I'm like, I would have avoided so many mistakes just talking to other people and running things by them. Or maybe not. I'm stubborn. I probably would have made mistakes anyway.
I owe everything to the community. I really do. And so it's really important to me.
It's an amazing time to be part of the MSP community. So with that, it's 2:00. I want to be respectful of your time. Alex, thank you so much. You guys can't see Elle. She's in the green room. She's been talking on the chat as well. Making sure things go smoothly. You guys are awesome. Alex, I know you're on MSPs R Us. I believe you're in other. I don't think I've ever seen you on Geek, but I believe I know you're on Reddit.
I'm there sometimes. I'm not as active in Slack just because of reasons, just because I mostly in Discord. But yeah.
Gotcha. But their contact information is below. You can buy directly from PAX8. You can go there. I strongly recommend reaching out to these guys. It's phenomenal. Alex, thank you, and anything else you want to say before we let you go?
I don't know. Thank you for having us. So this is a big deal because, like I said, we don't do any marketing or sales. So we love when people reach out to us because we don't know how to do this. So it's great. It's great that you've had us on. So thank you.
I'm happy to have you on anytime. Maybe we'll do maybe we'll get one of your users, maybe Luke, now that you handled the GDPR stuff. Maybe Luke will be a user. We'll get you guys on a technical deficit and talk about best practices and stuff like that. That'd be fun.
That. Thank you, Ray.
All right, Simon, why don't you tell us what's coming on? Simon, you got to be on the screen to say what's coming on, dude.
Oh my God. All right. So we do have a couple events coming up in the next couple of weeks. Weekend, actually, we're going from Sunday to Tuesday. We're going to be at Channel Exchange in San Antonio, Texas. So if you'll be at that, we're going to be at booth 705. Come say hi to myself and to El Ambassador Sean Lardo. On 8/19, we have a partner first webinar with Everything MSP. Do your customers have the ability to work from anywhere? That'll be with Don Tomaszewski and Sean Lardo. It'll be the Battle of the Bald Men. On August 24th, we have our technical deficit, solving the top 5 cyber drain system admin capture the flag challenges with Kelvin Techlar. And then August 25th, we have the showdown of the process kings. The king over at Eureka Process, Alan Edwards, and then our king, Ray Orsini, will be battling it down on documentation to support your whole business. And then last but not least, on August 26th at 1 p.m., we have a partner first webinar featuring Rob Bray of Datto. So make sure to tune in for that. Make sure to subscribe down below, as we do have many upcoming events in the next couple weeks.
All right. With that, thank you very much for being part of the Partner First. Alex, thanks to you. Thanks to Al in the cover in the green room, and to our OIT family. Until next time, if this is immediately recorded, you can rewatch. I know Sean said he had to walk away for an emergency. Hopefully everything's okay. But reach out to us and subscribe, click like, all that fun stuff. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you, Ray.